Welcome back, First LEGO League Challengers. In this video, we'll be guiding you through a process of identifying a project idea.
In this video, we will cover how your team should tackle the process of identifying a problem for your project. We will provide you a 7-step process. Then, we will go through the 2 useful resources provided by FIRST to help you during the season. These resources include the Challenge Guide and the Engineering Notebook.
Here's the 7-step process for identifying your problem. Step 1 is to read the challenge guide to understand the problem. Step 2 is to pick apart the topic. Step 3 is to brainstorm and identify your problem. Step 4 is to narrow down your brainstorm problems and then do some research on them. Step 5 is to have each team member present their researched idea and then take notes on each other's presentations. Step 6 is to take a vote for which idea you like the most. And finally, step 7 is to weigh the pros and cons of each option and make your final decision.
Step 1 is to read the Challenge Guide carefully. The Challenge Guide is a resource provided by the FIRST organization on their website. The Challenge Guide highlights the problem statement, robot game, innovation project, and the core values for your season. At the top left, we get more insight into the problem statement. Pay attention to these bolded words, as they may help you in brainstorming solutions.
Here on the top right, we're given some information on the robot game, which is when your robot is actually performing at competition.
Just below that, we get some details on the innovation project, including the project challenge prompt for your theme.
At the bottom of the page, the core values for your season are listed along with their descriptions. Feel free to use the challenge guide as a resource.
Step 2 is to deconstruct the topic. As a recap, the problem statement for City Shaper was, identify a problem with a building or public space in your community. Again, City Shaper is just an example from the 2019 to 2020 season. First, underline the keywords that define the theme in this problem statement. Underline the terms building, public space, and community. Now that you've picked apart the keywords, ask yourself what these 3 terms mean.
Step 3 is to brainstorm topics. For a few meetings, brainstorm problems.
Now let's learn how to work effectively and identify a unique problem to solve in the area of focus. To do that, we need to learn how to brainstorm and listen to each other's ideas. Let's look at the WORK acronym. W stands for work for quantity, not quality. O stands for outlaw criticism. R stands for reinforce others' ideas. And K stands for keep all ideas.
Let's start with the W, work for quantity, not quality. At the beginning of your brainstorm session, just throw yourselves out there. Be creative and let your imagination take over, so just say whatever you think. The more ideas, the more likely that the quality of ideas will surface later. For example, let's say that we're brainstorming ideas for a parachute. Someone may throw out the idea that to make the parachute out of paper, although this may seem like a bad idea, it should still be noted. As Thomas Edison once said, quote, I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
The next part of the acronym is O, outlaw criticism. The reason for this is that there is a possibility that a perfectly good idea may be thrown out due to some instant negative reactions such as, that idea sucks. By not allowing criticism, every idea gets equal consideration and thought before it is deemed to be a bad idea.
Next, we have R, reinforcing each other's ideas. Feel free to build off one of your teammates' ideas and combine it with your own to make it even better. Remember, you should write down all of your ideas, and joining ideas can create the strongest, most versatile plan. So let's go back to the parachute brainstorm when the paper wing idea was thrown out. Let's say that someone also suggested to include wood. Then someone can suggest to combine these ideas to use wood so that the parachute is strong, but also use paper to enhance the surface area of the parachute so that there's more drag or that the person using the parachute falls slower. This would be a great example of reinforcing each other's ideas.
Last but not least, we have K, keep all ideas. This means keeping all ideas that may sound as a joke or unimportant. Every idea that leaves someone's mouth should be noted down for further review. It turns out some of the best ideas stem from the ones people say as a joke or on accident. Going back to our parachute brainstorm, if we had thrown out the paper idea, then the idea of combining the wood and the paper may not have been formed. So, write every idea down. By following WORK, Your brainstorming sessions with your team will give you a lot of material to work with. So, get creative and have fun!
Step 4 is to do your research. Now you are ready to take your brainstorm topics to the next level. Take a few brainstorm topics each and look online. Find articles and news sources and paste those links into your research dump document. Take notes on those articles for information that highlights why the problem exists. After that, create a presentation using your notes. We encourage you to split up and assign work.
First, let's go through some of the questions that you should be thinking about when you begin researching. Who or what has caused this problem? Which groups of people or things will it affect? How many groups? How long has this problem been persisting for? Is this problem widely prominent in modern-day society? To what extent is this problem solvable with a prototype or some physical object? You don't want to create a project that's completely theoretical. Consider the time, location, groups involved, and groups affected.
Step 5 is to present research and take notes. At last, you'll be ready to present your research. Get your team together and have one member at a time present their research for the topics that they chose and that they were passionate about. Do this until every team member has presented. If you aren't the one presenting, make sure to give your full undivided attention. And remember that you're ultimately going to only choose one problem to tackle.
Step 6 is to take a vote. After all this, take a team vote. Compare your notes from the presentations and vote for the problem that you think, at the end of the day, is the most important. If your team has a better method of deciding ideas, then go with that.
When voting, ask yourself a few questions. How passionate is your whole team about the project? And in 1 year, if you look back, will you be satisfied after solving the problem you chose?
Finally, step 7 is to weigh usefulness and decide. After voting, take a look at the ideas that got the most votes and narrow it down to just one idea. If you're having trouble deciding between two ideas, don't worry. Two great ideas can always be combined into one. Remember, your final decision should come down to something that is not only achievable, but also useful. For example, the creation of our beloved spork is a crossover between the spoon and a fork.
The Engineering Notebook is another great resource, just like the challenge guide provided by the first organization on their website, which gives you a place to track your thought process throughout the season. The purpose of the Engineering Notebook is to get you thinking about your approach for your season to structure meetings for both the project and the robot. We encourage you all to explore the Engineering Notebook. Now, let's take a look at the 2019 to 2020 City Shaper Engineering Notebook, where the prompt was to identify a problem with a building or public space in your community.
In the engineering notebook, there are project sparks. These project sparks essentially give you a starting point to brainstorm your problem. Here, you'll find different scenarios of real-world problems that are connected to the problem statement for your theme. You may take inspiration from the game mat to brainstorm problems for your season. To do this, look at the project sparks. Each project spark scenario is visible on the map. Project Spark 1 was modeled after the treehouse mission, which displays how architects solve the problem of building a treehouse hotel. This relates to the prompt because a hotel is a building, and the problem is that they want to make a treehouse hotel. As you can see here, the treehouse from the Project Spark is represented on the game map.
Next, Project Spark 2 was designed after the Swing mission, which demonstrates how engineers built a playground fit for everybody by creating a swing for wheelchairs. Clearly, this is relevant to the prompt because the playground is a public space, and the issue is that everyone isn't able to use it.
Project Spark 3 was created after the Building Units mission, which shows how to build houses that can withstand earthquakes using modular construction.
Finally, Project Spark 4 comes from the Inspection Camera Drone mission, which demonstrates how architects and engineers were able to quickly receive detailed pictures and 3D scans of bridges to inspect using drones. Clearly, the Project Sparks are a great reference to help you get started.
In the engineering notebook, you'll also find a few pages containing sessions numbered off which can help guide you in your thinking in the context of the theme. Feel free to use the sessions given in the engineering notebook with help for not only identifying your problem, but for general help and practice throughout the season. An example of a session is given here.
Thank you for watching. Now that you can brainstorm and identify a problem, you are ready to watch our video about conducting research. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe so that this video series can be recommended to many other FLL students just like you.